What is up, guys? Delboy here. So Guillremo Rigondeaux knocks out Julio Ceja in the 8th round in what was a very entertaining fight. It was a back and forth type fight, a war of attrition. Both guys were working well in the pocket and I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was a really good fight. Both guys came to bring it. Both guys threw their leather. Both guys were throwing power shots. And yeah, credit to both guys for putting on a show. Unfortunately, the stoppage was bogus. I will get into that in a bit though. Going into this fight, I speculated that Guillremo Rigondeaux's legs could be gone. And that was based on his performance, his comeback performance on the undercard of Caleb Plant versus Jose Uzcategui. Now on that card, he fought a real low-level opponent, a guy who was there to get knocked out. And in that fight, Rigondeaux was so much more flat-footed than we are used to seeing, and it made me wonder, are Rigondeaux's legs gone, or was he just doing that to make a statement and, score an exciting knockout? Well, I think this fight may have answered those questions, and I think my suspicions were correct. I don't think Rigondeaux has those legs anymore to stick and move and be elusive. I really don't think he stayed in the pocket against Ceja, a big puncher, a bigger guy by design. Rigondeaux has never done that in his career. He's always been a guy who uses a safety-first style where possible. But in this fight, he basically stayed in the pocket the whole time. He was trading with Ceja, he was head-to-head with Ceja, just wailing away. And it's got to be said, it made for a really good fight. The fight, how you scored it, it was kind of what you liked. I felt Rigondeaux was landing the harder shots, but for me, Ceja was outworking Rigondeaux, and at the time of the stoppage, I felt he was up and winning the fight. In fact, I think the official cards had him a couple of rounds up also. So yeah, at the time of the stoppage, I felt Ceja was winning. I just preferred his work rate, although some of Rigondeaux's shots were quality. When Rigondeaux opens up and lets his hands go, he's actually got really good offense. He's a really good punch picker, beautiful left uppercut on the inside. He doubled and tripled that shot up at times, and it was beautiful to watch. It makes you wish that Rigondeaux did that more in his prime, or when he was closer to his prime, because he does actually have decent offense. Like I said, decent power, decent punch placement, he can work the body, and yeah, it was just nice and refreshing to see that side to Rigondeaux's game. And in this fight, he showed some heart. He was getting caught with a lot of big body shots and big hooks to the head. He was even buzzed a couple of times, in my opinion. And, he got through those moments quite well. Unfortunately, the stoppage was bogus. Rigondeaux caught Ceja in round 8 with a beautiful overhand left, and it dropped Ceja. It was a heavy shot, and Ceja did fall fairly hard, but he beat the count and he looked okay. But for whatever reason, the referee waves it off. To me, I've got to be honest, it seemed like a political stoppage. There was no way in hell that fight should have been stopped. We saw in the main event with Jorge Cota, that guy was much more badly hurt than Ceja, and he got to continue, and look what happened. Ceja was not close to being that hurt, yet the fight was stopped. Seemed like a bogus stoppage to me, and it just puts a dampener on a really good fight. And I actually felt bad for Rigondeaux in this fight. Maybe I'm going soft, but I rinsed Rigondeaux for quitting against Lomachenko. I also didn't like how Rigondeaux always played the victim in his career, and certain career choices he made were terrible. So I've been critical of Rigondeaux over the years, but the guy really showed out against Julio Ceja. He really came to fight. He took his lumps and he fought a really, really tough fight. But because of how the fight ended, the controversial stoppage, when he got his hand raised, he got booed, And I actually felt bad for Rigondeaux in this instance, but there we go. Maybe I'm going soft, but I felt he showed some good mettle, took some big shots, threw back his own, and yeah, it made for a really good fight. But I certainly believe Rigondeaux is on the slide. His legs have gone. His reactions aren't as quick as they once were. he seems to be showing a lot less upper body movement, and, he was as robotic as I've ever seen him, really. And going forwards, that could be a problem. Now, he is now mandatory for Rey Vargas, who holds that WBC title. I think that's a really tough fight for Rigondeaux at this stage. Now, Rey Vargas, to me, he's a good fighter, obviously, he holds that title, but he is one of the weaker champions, in my opinion. Having said that, he's got an awkward style, he is tall for the weight class, and he can move and keep it at range. Against this version of Rigondeaux, whose legs no longer seem to be there, that could be a tough style for Rigondeaux at this stage. But nevertheless, it's a good fight, and it's a competitive fight, one that could go either way, in my opinion. So I'm all for Guillremo Rigondeaux versus Rey Vargas. I think that's a really good fight. But I've got to say commiserations to Julio Ceja. I felt he was winning this fight by at least a couple of rounds, and he was in a good position in the fight, but he kind of got screwed by a bogus stoppage. And a win over Rigondeaux for Julio Ceja would have been a massive boost to his career. Now, maybe Rigondeaux would have stopped him in the next round. We will never know, but Julio Ceja should have got the opportunity to continue, and it just puts a dampener on a really, really good fight, and that's unfortunate. But yeah, share your opinions below, tell me what you thought of the fight, and tell me how you feel about the stoppage. Peace.